Hi, welcome to our Realtors Conspiracy podcast, where we crack the code to real estate success. I'm here with Clinton Howell today, sales rep with Remax Escarpment, and has some success story to share to us, with us about selling. Tell us about it, Clinton.
I do. Well, my business is growing. It's building quickly, and I attribute my success to really putting my clients' needs first. And it's one thing to say that, but it's something else to really mean it and to truly care about your clients and to be thinking about them and making sure that you're really giving them the best value that you can in every way.
Yeah. What do you do before selling a house for a client?
Well, before selling a house, the price of a house is very critical. I mean, you need to get the price right because if it's obvious, but if the price is too low, you've left money on the table. If it's too high, you're not going to get the showings, and you're going to be on the market too long. And price corrections, they can be okay, but at the same time, they also get perceived as the house is less desirable. So you want to try and avoid price corrections. Now again, depending on the type of home, it's sometimes difficult. There's not always great comparables for property. But you really want to give it a lot of consideration and study the comparables. You want to look at land values, consider the age of things in terms of depreciation, really come up with a fair, accurate market value for the home, and then really back it up with fantastic marketing.
Cool, yeah. Awesome. And then how do you keep in touch with your sellers throughout the selling process?
Well, throughout the process, I'm very hands-on in terms of communication. I'm always in touch with my sellers. I really want them to feel like they're part of the process because they very much are. A seller that's really doing their part, makes sure the place is spotless. They make sure the lights are on and that staged furniture and throw pillows and blankets, everything's exactly how it should be. And also, when there's a showing request, I have the option as an agent to just use our appointment center, and they can call and confirm the appointments with the seller and stuff like that. But I don't take that approach. I always check the box that listing agents to confirm. So basically, I call the buyer's agent. I speak to them directly. I want to find out, what kind of buyer is this? What are you looking for? Is there anything out of the gate that you're excited about with the property or not? Try and get some feedback. And so I can also fill in some blanks for them too, right? Make sure you look at this, make sure you consider that, and I can give that feedback to my client of the types of people that are coming through, so they feel like they know a lot more information about what's happening. And then after the showing as well, I instead of just sending out an email, what did you think about the property, and half the agents don't respond to that, I phone them. I will phone them directly and say, how did the showing go? Did you check out this or check out that? And try and get some real feedback from them. What they like, what didn't they like, and give that feedback back to my seller as well. So they really have a good insight and they feel connected to the showings and the things that are happening with the property.
Yeah, that's really cool because I don't think I hear that a lot from other agents that do that. This extra approach, I think.
Yeah, well, it's more work, right?
Yeah, It's more work. Cool. How do you keep in touch with them after when they sold and everything?
Once the property is sold, I kind of look at each client as a client for life. I don't want to have to replace my clients every year. So, I like to just keep in touch. I usually throw a couple of nice events, social events for my clients, and they can come out and join me and meet other clients and network themselves. Yeah. I also like to try and get together for a coffee or lunch or a dinner sometimes, or pop by with a little gift, surprise gift or something like that. So. Just try and stay in touch with them, and I also have some emails that I might send out throughout the year with some information about what's happening in their neighborhood, and people have big investments in their homes. They like to know, how's my neighborhood doing, how's the market doing. It's just, it's almost like when you get a statement in the mail about your mutual fund. How's my house doing? So sort of stay in touch and keep them informed.
Very cool.
Yeah.
You had a successful story recently, a young couple in Ancaster that sold a house, and it was so fast.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah, Dave and Alicia, fantastic couple. Just love them. They got a baby on the way, which is exciting for them. But they had a beautiful townhouse, really well done. So the place really sold itself. But it was a little tricky because the townhouse complex was only like 7 months old. So things had just been registered. There was no other sales yet in the complex of this exact unit. And the size-wise, this unit wasn't necessarily bigger, but it was a 2-story versus other ones that had sold were 3 stories with similar square footage. So and also they were on a sort of a premium space that they paid extra for, and having slightly more backyard and things like that. So we had to be careful about getting the price right, and it was a little bit tricky, but we came up with a number that worked, and we got 2 offers within 24 hours, which was exciting. Wow. With it being so new, I mean, it still had Tarion warranty and things like that. There was a couple of creaks in the floors that still had to be fixed, and we pointed these things out to the buyers, but it all worked out because it's going to get serviced and looked after. Yeah. So, but it sold quickly, and we got a good price. We set a new record for the complex. No other unit exactly like this one had sold before, though, so it kind of sets the bar now for other people with units that may be similar. But it was a real pleasure to work with Dave and Alicia, because they've got great taste and they have beautiful furniture, and I think actually when you were there taking the pictures, I think you were getting some ideas for your own place, right? Yeah. Nice color choices and everything.
Yeah, very cool. Yeah. What would you tell a new agent getting into the market to be a better communicator or better at selling houses, I guess?
Well, it's the one insight that I have is, I've been doing this for a few years now, and it's a lot more work than you might think. Realtors really have to earn their keep. There's a lot to it, and so if you're just getting started in this business, be prepared for some long hours and some challenging or difficult conversations. There is a lot of thinking that needs to go on.
So you don't just put a sign in the house sold?
Furthest thing from the truth, yeah. It's you get into negotiations, and just it's emotional too, right? I mean, whether you're selling a home that you love and downsizing. Some people are selling their home and they would rather wish they didn't have to. So that's tough, right? But it's just life changes, circumstances change, whether someone's getting divorced or needing to downsize, something more accessible or less maintenance. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why people are leaving homes they love, so that can be very stressful. And also too, I mean, because of the money involved, affordability or getting enough money in your sale, these are key factors. And there's always uncontrollable things, like what's happening in the market, what's happening with politics, what's happening with mortgage rates. And these things can cause a lot of stress. So a big part of being a good realtor, I think, is being a good listener, and really trying just to support and listen and care for your clients through the process with good information, and just really helping them through some of these tough decisions. Because it's as a realtor, you don't have all the answers, but you can certainly be a good friend and partner for your clients.
Good listener, I like that. So smart approach. Follow up, good listener. Yeah. That's really cool. Pricing right, yeah.
Doing
due diligence before.
And making sure that within reason that you're staging and making sure the maintenance and that the house shows to the best of its ability. Because if you show up to a house and the grass isn't cut and the floors aren't vacuumed and the dishes aren't put away, it kind of turns people off. So you need to. It's again obvious stuff, but a lot of things that we endure in our careers and in life are simple things, but it's finding the time and being organized to make sure it's all done, right?
Yeah, common sense to one person is not common sense for everyone.
Yeah, I mean, some people might have the attitude, well, they can paint the house whatever color they want. What difference does it make?
Yeah.
Well, the difference is it just doesn't appeal to them, right?
Yeah.
It's like, when you're going out to a nice dinner or to an event, you dress nicely, right? You want to appear nicely. And someone, oh, you look amazing, you look gorgeous, right? Whereas if you showed up in a tracksuit, you're the same person, but you're going to get those compliments? No. Look, right? And someone else is going to get the compliments. Same with houses, right? So basically, if you show up to one person's house and it's got the tracksuit on, another one's all dressed up with the beautiful flowers, and you get my point. Basically, that the house that shows the best, if it's got others in similar price range, the one that shows the best usually gets the most attention. Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What else would you tell realtors for tips about being a seller's agent, or anything people need to know?
Well, I don't know. It's kind of it's tough. It's a very broad question. Yeah. But I'd say one thing for sure is don't cut corners with your marketing. It blows my mind. I see, listings in Toronto. Like I'm interested in like loft condos, so I'm not buying one or anything, but I just like to look at them, the listings. So it's kind of fun for me to look at those in Toronto and stuff. But I see listings come on the market, And sometimes you see, beautiful photography and you really capture it and you can really see this is a really cool spot. And other times it seems like the agent maybe took some snapshots with their BlackBerry or something. Like, they're blurry and the angles are terrible. Or sometimes you just see like a picture of the condo building and no pictures of inside. It's like, how do you expect to really get top dollar for someone if you don't invest in proper photography and proper write-up or videos, just things to really communicate what this property is about. I've even had buyers actually say, I've looked at the listing, this is in the right area, but I don't even want to bother seeing that property. I'm like, oh, really? How come? It's like, there's 16 pictures. I'm like, really? And that's why you don't want to see it? Well, I mean, anyone who cares about their property at all is going to have more than 16 pictures. I'm like, okay, fair point.
More than 16 crappy pictures. Even.
Right, so maybe maybe the buyer or the seller really cares about their property, but they hired a terrible realtor who doesn't think their marketing is important.
Yeah.
But the buyer didn't even want to go see the place. Meanwhile, if it had been photographed nicely and presented properly, they might have bought the house, right?
Yeah.
So
No,
it does make a difference. Yeah.
Cool. Very
Yeah.
glad to hear.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. What's their favorite part about selling? If you had to pick one thing.
My favorite part about selling, I think, I love marketing. I love the challenge, but I really think my favorite part about selling is when I get the chance to help someone to find their next property. So it kind of goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
So it's helping someone find their next part of their dream, and then taking care of this sale that needs to happen.
Nice.
So I think it's really what it means to the client is my favorite part. Yeah.
Cool. What's your approach when going into a listing presentation to make sure you get the sale?
Basically, what I try and do is really demonstrate my past marketing efforts for listings, right? So I'll bring copies of brochures that I've done. I'll bring examples of past listings, like in terms of MLS. Like I'll bring my laptop and actually show what how the write-up looked like, and the way that it was all put together. But I also I really spend a lot of time discussing the digital marketing side of things. I tend to focus a lot of effort and energy into the website, getting backlinks to anyone related to the project, social media presence, so in terms of Instagram and Facebook and these kinds of things as well, because and especially depending on the types of properties, these things can be very important. And 3D, if it's a more expensive home, like basically you get into $1 million plus homes, like the 3D Matterport tours and things like that. I think that those tours can be very useful, especially in a more expensive home where you've got more discerning buyers and they don't want to waste their time going through a bunch of places, so they can really sort of virtually tour it ahead of time, and it kind of pre-qualifies them. Less important, I think, for something in under 500,000 to have that kind of technology. I also I'm a full TREB member as well, which a lot of agents aren't. It's extra costs for me to have and more trainings and things, but I find that having that visibility to the TREB and the GTA and being able to list things directly in the GTA as well as the Burlington Hamilton, which covers all through to Niagara board, gives just a broader coverage, because there's quite a few buyers that are coming from the GTA area moving this way because the prices of the homes are lower. So I think there's about 150,000 people a year arriving in the GTA and a lot of them have to move this way. So a really strong presence there. So I like to just try and talk through all these different things and also just really try and give someone a sense of what the experience working with me is going to be like, right? Yeah. So aside from all these examples, which other realtors may be able to show or say the same things in terms of quality possibly, the other realtors aren't me. So they're not necessarily going to have the same care, the same, someone texts me, I'm back to them, in a few minutes, pretty much always. Email, same thing. So if you phone me, really, accessibility, responsiveness, and if someone has questions for me at any point, if I don't have the answer already known, I'll look into it. I'm not going to make something up. So just that integrity, right? So really just trying to communicate what kind of person I am and what working with me is going to be like, so they can kind of really picture the whole process. And that's pretty much the approach. And then whatever their questions and things come along, it kind of just evolves through the meeting. But yeah, that's what I do.
Very cool.
Yeah.
And then how do you make sure when the house is closing that the closing runs smoothly?
one of the things I like to do is just kind of let people know, like I get a reminder from my office that the closing is coming up, in a week, right? So as soon as I get that reminder, then I will call my client and remind them,
Nice.
right? And it may seem like a small thing, but law offices can be very busy.
Yeah.
And sometimes, the law office may not contact a client until like 2 days before, and you need to come in and sign all these papers and do all this stuff. So it can be a little hectic, especially if you're not expecting it. So I usually like to try and go through the closing process, earlier on, initially, just when things are actually sold and firm, just kind of go through what to expect, and then do a reminder call, about a week before closing. Have you been in to see your lawyer yet? Have you had an appointment made? You probably want to get in there and get all the papers signed, make sure that all the ducks are in a row, drop off your key, and just just make sure that that you're in good shape, because life's busy, and my clients usually appreciate that, and I think you do hear horror stories, so I haven't had any.
Oh, I've had a few.
Yeah.
So.
you do hear horror stories, and basically
yes.
Very last minute stuff, and
Yeah.
last minute stuff can be a major problem, because banks don't move quickly necessarily, right? So if someone dropped the ball somewhere along the line, and proper papers weren't forwarded to the bank, or an appraisal from the bank side didn't happen, the purchase or sale might not get funded.
Or the lawyers and blaming the mortgage broker blaming the lawyers.
This finger pointing thing definitely goes on, and it's. I'm not going to name any names, but I've seen it. I've seen it happen, and it's stressful.
Awful.
It's stressful because
sick.
if you're not going to get the keys to your new place on the day you're supposed to get them, then that's really disappointing. And if you're a seller and you're waiting for your big check and you're not going to get it that day, then that's can be a big problem. Maybe you're closing on something else tomorrow. So closing process running smoothly is very key. And so I just like to try and remind and answer lots of questions, and try to sort of go through the process so that they kind of know what to expect.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. That was Realtors Conspiracy Podcast with Clinton Howell from Remax Escarpment.
Thank you.